Before we even start the proceedings, let me just say this. I'm keeping it clean today. I'm talking PG. No F-bombs, no four-letter words, not even a friggin'. And I know what you're thinking. Vinny, what's wrong? You feeling okay? Yeah, I'm fine, but this story right here, it's bigger than my usual rants. This one ain't just for my crew in the back of the pool hall. It's for your mother, your neighbor, your kid's civics teacher, the people who still believe what they see on the evening news. They need to hear it. And if I gotta bite my tongue a little, put some soap in my mouth to make that happen, fine. Just know it ain't because I lost my edge. It's because this matters. So sit tight. Court is in session. Objection! Objection to the entire premise of the last 8 years. First, they told us Antifa doesn't exist. They looked you straight in the eye on national television, said it's just an idea. Yeah, and I'm just a fashion model who happens to know a thing or two about tire treads. It's a fantasy, they said, a myth. Then, when cities were literally on fire and buildings were being looted, they changed their story. They said, well, okay, maybe they exist, but they ain't an organization. No leaders, no structure, no money. That was the sales pitch. Just a couple of rowdy, misunderstood kids in black hoodies on Discord, expressing their feelings with bricks and Molotov cocktails. Nothing more. But guess what? They lied. Again. And now? Now, the receipts are pouring in like evidence in a bad mob trial, and the prosecution is ready to make its case. And who's leading the charge? FBI Director Kash Patel. Yeah, I know. Weird name for an FBI guy. Sounds more like a character from a spy movie. But this guy, he just went on the record and said, they're on the verge of exposing Antifa's entire command and control structure. That means leadership, that means funding, that means coordination. All the stuff they swore on a stack of Bibles didn't exist. This isn't just a change in tune. It's a 180-degree reversal of the entire government's position for years. And let me tell you something about the law. Once you prove their structure and money and a coordinated effort, now you can prosecute. Now you're not just dealing with a few rioters, you're dealing with a criminal enterprise. That's the game changer. But let's talk about the accessories after the fact. The media. They weren't just wrong, they were complicit. They were co-conspirators. Every network, every pundit, every blue-check expert on Twitter, all reading from the same teleprompter like a bunch of trained parrots. Antifa's just a moniker. It's not a group. Nobody's a member. Over and over and over. Like they were trying to hypnotize us into ignoring the burning cities on our screens. Meanwhile, these clowns were organized, they were funded, they were bailed out of jail by celebrity-backed funds, and they were protected like a protected class. The media didn't report the news, they helped cover up a domestic terrorist enterprise. They weren't journalists, they were the PR wing for a criminal organization. Then came Trump. Love him or hate him, the man ain't subtle. He's about as subtle as a 2x4 to the side of the head. While the media was playing make-believe, he designated Antifa a domestic terrorist group. Now, the talking heads on TV screamed and cried. They called it an overreach, an attack on protesters. But that designation ain't just political theater. That's a legal nuclear bomb. It unlocks a whole new set of tools for prosecutors. Now, anyone involved, not just the guys throwing the bricks, but the people writing the checks, can get hit with up to 15 years or life in prison under federal material support laws. If someone dies during one of their protests, that's a life sentence for the funders. The game has changed. The stakes just got real. And guess what? This isn't a hypothetical anymore. It's already happening. 2 Antifa members just got slapped with the first ever federal terrorism charges for their role in the attack on an ICE facility in Texas. And when did they do it? On the 4th of July, no less. Real classy, a real tribute to the country they're trying to burn down. Now they're facing life behind bars, but they're not the real target. In any good RICO case, you don't start with the Don. You start with the low-level pawns, the foot soldiers. You squeeze them, you make them a deal, and you work your way up the chain. The real prize? The money trail. And now, thanks to Trump's designation, we're finally following it. Let's talk about the state of Illinois, for example. We're talking about over $1 billion. Billion, with a B, of your taxpayer money being funneled through a web of shady non-governmental organizations, or NGOs. These are groups claiming to do parent mentoring, immigrant support, LGBTQ advocacy, you name it. All sounds nice and fuzzy, right? But in reality, these were political slush funds. The money went to so-called community programs that were more like ideological training camps for the far left. And the real kicker? These NGOs, by design, aren't subject to Freedom of Information laws. So we pay for it, but we're not allowed to know what we paid for. How's that for justice? It's a perfectly legal way to launder taxpayer money into political activism. So where does this river of cash lead? The trail leads to some very familiar names that pop up every time there's chaos and disorder. George Soros's Open Society Foundations, the Tides Foundation. It's the usual suspects. These groups funnel millions of dollars into another organization called the Alliance for Global Justice. Think of them as the mob's accountants. And what does this alliance do? Then cuts checks to Antifa front groups like Refuse Fascism and the National Lawyers Guild. Yeah, the same ones who are always on TV, posting bail for the rioters and suing the cops. This ain't loose change from a bake sale. This is a sophisticated, multi-layered, organized money laundering operation, all done under the respectable cover of non-profit activism. You'd think that's bad enough, but no, it gets worse. Because it's not just the usual lefty billionaires, you got mainstream blue-chip companies in on it too. We're talking Fidelity, we're talking Schwab, big-time financial firms that manage your 401k. They're sending hundreds of millions of dollars in charitable funds to these same support networks. You think your retirement fund is safe, invested in the S&P 500? You might be bankrolling bail money for the radicals who are trying to burn down the country, and you don't even know it. And thanks to the magic of donor-advised funds and their anonymity laws, these guys, the real money men, stay hidden in the shadows while the cities burn. And then the conspiracy goes international. Just like any good mob movie. We're talking China, Cuba, Venezuela, Iran, all allegedly helping fund the destabilization of their number one enemy, us. You got one guy, Neville Roy Singham, a former Microsoft exec who now lives in Shanghai and is cozy with the CCP, funneling over $100 million to far-left protest groups in the U.S. while pumping out Chinese propaganda. And one of the groups tied directly to this guy's money? Get this, the Armed Queers of Salt Lake City. Yeah, you heard me right, that's a real group. And now they're under federal investigation for having alleged prior knowledge of the assassination attempt on Charlie Kirk. It's like a bad spy novel, except every damn word of it is real. Now here's where it gets beautiful, in a legal kind of way. This is the part I love. Trump's terrorism designation unlocks the big guns, RICO charges. The Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. That means you don't just have to arrest the foot soldiers throwing the rocks. You can go after the bosses, the financiers, the enablers, the lawyers, anyone who makes money or gains power from the chaos. Soros, the Tides Foundation, Schwab, whoever's writing the checks. If they're caught providing material support to a designated terrorist organization, they're going down. RICO is how we took down the mob. And what is Antifa if not a disorganized, poorly dressed, and less intelligent version of the mob? Now, the same rules apply. So here we are. The case is laid out. The days of Antifa and their billionaire backers acting with impunity like they're above the law, those days are numbered. Trump built the legal foundation. He loaded the gun. Now it's on guys like Patel to follow the money, to press charges, and to drag these people kicking and screaming into the light. But listen to me. This is important. YouTube ain't gonna recommend this video. The algorithm will throttle it, bury it, and pretend it doesn't exist. So if you give a damn about what's happening to this country, you gotta be the algorithm. You gotta be the star witness. Subscribe, leave a comment, hit the like button, and share it with everybody, your family, your barber, your cousin Vinny. Because if we don't wake people up now, we might not get another shot. Capiche? Vinny out.